Welcome to the NEPA Traffic Safety Forum. My name is James May and I'm the Regional Press Director for PennDOT. One of the most important aspects of what we do is to help promote safety. Right now we're in the midst of our aggressive driving campaign, and I'm here with some of our safety partners, some of which work in the office with me and some of which we talk to on the phone and via email quite a bit. Let me just begin by having each one of you go through and just give me your name and what your title is as it relates to traffic safety.
Mike Chaluto, the Safety Press Officer that promotes safety for PennDOT District 4.
Christina Sullivan, Lackawanna County Highway Safety Program.
And?
Rebecca Ryback, Northeast Highway Safety Program. I cover Luzerne, Wayne, Wyoming, and Susquehanna County.
And Christina, what areas do you cover?
Lackawanna County and Pike County.
Okay. Mike, a lot of times we have these various campaigns that we do throughout the year. I know that we have the aggressive driving one that's taking place right now. We'll have Click It or Ticket, the various campaigns. What exactly are these campaigns and how does PennDOT work to make these campaigns happen?
Well, these campaigns go throughout the whole year. Well, this wave is for aggressive driving, and they're going to be out checking for speeding, red light running, and stop signs.
And what is PennDOT's role in these? How do we?
Well, PennDOT is the funding comes through PennDOT.
Okay.
So a lot of the local police departments in northeastern Pennsylvania will go out and do aggressive driving, extra hours, manpower they put in to take care of distracted driving.
And I know you do a lot of work with these various campaigns. In your opinion, why do you think that these campaigns are important for PennDOT to be doing?
Well, I think these campaigns are very important for safety on the road. If they catch someone speeding or they get someone running a red light, it could save a life. That's the most important part, is to have zero fatalities when you're driving on the road.
Now, we're in the midst of our aggressive driving campaign. I guess where we should really kind of step back maybe and talk about first is, what is an aggressive driver?
It's you, it's me, it's everyone. Our lives are very busy. We have kids. We're busy going here and there. So something simple as being rushed, so you're speeding, that you're trying to get somewhere, you're switching lanes quickly, you maybe didn't use your signal. That's all aggressive driver. So it's a mom, it's a dad, it's a teen driver, it's really anybody. So and those simple mistakes can cause crashes.
I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this, but what do you think are some of these sort of underlying causes of people becoming an aggressive driver?
There's a lot more cars on the road,
okay,
and lives are a lot more busier. So the stress of getting somewhere, getting to where you need to be, more cars, more traffic, more construction, all right? People get angry. So, and they may not realize that these simple things they're doing, 10 miles over the speed limit, not stopping at a stop sign, rolling right through. Those are all what PennDOT refers to as an aggressive driver.
Now, if we come upon an aggressive driver, let's assume for a second that we're talking about somebody else, not us. We'll just, for the sake of arguing here, we'll say that we're talking about somebody else here. What do we do in those situations where we encounter an aggressive driver? What's the best steps to take?
The best steps to take, first of all, do not engage with that driver in any way, shape, or form. No hand signals, no eye contact. The best way to handle an aggressive driver is to report that driver to 911. Unfortunately, if you're driving, that's very hard to do so. So for your safety, if you could pull over and call 911 or have the passenger in the car, give the police the make, model, year number of that car, and that is the best way. I receive emails, which is usually a day later or 2 days later after the fact, that they've come across a really dangerous aggressive driver, and unfortunately not too much can be done at that point. So you have to call 911 to report an aggressive driver and give them as much descriptive information as you can.
We get those calls sometimes too, where somebody says, I saw a green car and they were driving aggressively. So I know that you touched on this already, but get the license plate, the type of car, how about the location? Okay, the location, the direction.
Very important.
All of those type of things, and you're saying to get that information as quickly as possible, yes, to the police so that they can take care of that. So some good information. This is something that I know that probably all of us encounter aggressive drivers. Many times there is a temptation that when you see somebody who's riding your tail that you want to just,
Engage.
cut in front of them or have some sort of hand gesture or something that you really shouldn't have. What is the danger in people doing that type of thing when they do engage in an aggressive driver?
Well, when you engage with an aggressive driver, they're already aggressively driving, so they're already, probably their elevation and their anger is probably already high. So it could be a dangerous situation that you could encounter. They may, wave to you to move over, so it's best not to engage with them at all. Unfortunately, it's a danger to every driver on the road, but the best thing to do is report them.
And that's a good point, because you're putting your own life at risk, you're putting the other driver's life at risk. And quite frankly, sometimes it is people just being jerks on the road. I mean, let's make no bones about it. That can be the situation. But you never know. It might be somebody just got some horrible news, somebody's headed to the hospital, somebody who's, they're with their wife and she's in labor. I mean, there's no telling what is the underlying cause of that. I know for me many times it's important to kind of step back and say, especially when my kids were younger, okay, my kids are in the back seat. They're in the back of the minivan here. Let's just slow down, let the guy through. In the scheme of life, that guy going past me and me not reciprocating in any way isn't really going to impact my life in any negative way. So let them go and let them do what they want to do. Good information. Anything else we need to touch on as far as the importance of who an aggressive driver is?
I want to say one thing, that on August the 1st, we're going to have an aggressive driving day.
Okay.
So they'll be out there. Extra patrols will be out on that day. That's a statewide day that they're going to be out in force.
And the aggressive driving campaign actually goes from now until?
It started back in the first week in July and goes all the way to the end of August.
Okay. Until August 29th. Okay, the day after my wife's birthday is when they'll be out there. Okay, so extra police will be out there looking for aggressive drivers, and you gave us some of those tips about what an aggressive driver is. I'm joined now by two more individuals. John Morgan, I'll have you kind of give a description in just a second about what your title is, and Patrolman Reynolds, who's with the Dunmore Police Barracks. So, John, let me start with you. First of all, just tell us your actual title and the organization that you work with.
I work for the Highway Safety Network. I'm the law enforcement liaison. I work between PennDOT and the police departments in Region 4.
Now, I'm going to ask a question that I've got to be honest with you. I get asked this all the time, and I don't think that I fully know the answer to this question. People will say to me all the time, what happens in these enforcement waves that PennDOT has? We'll have a buckle up, or click it or ticket wave, we'll have the aggressive driving wave, the distracted driving wave. And I normally just simply answer and say, well, during these waves, we work with local law enforcement, Pennsylvania State Police, and they're out looking. But I've never really fully understood what does that mean beyond that. What happens in these waves as far as the police departments are concerned?
Well, first of all, the police departments are picked for the funding through their crash data, their aggressive driving crashes that happen in their areas. So we fund them, we do extra roving patrols, we do traffic enforcement zones where we'll have an officer out running an NRAD or a VASCAR and have chase cars down the road looking for speeders. We look for running red lights. We look for stop sign violations, changing lanes without caution, anything that would be considered an aggressive driving problem. We do joint patrols where we'll take maybe two police departments that are side by side, or we'll take a police department that's receiving funding, and we'll pair up with the Pennsylvania State Police. And we'll do speed details, red light details, whatever would fall under the aggressive driving realm.
So, and you said this before, but when these campaigns are initially get underway, before they even start, you're looking at those municipalities that have issues, concerns in those specific areas. Is that how it works?
Yes, we're looking for departments or municipalities that have aggressive driving crashes, a higher rate of them. So we're looking to have additional enforcement, additional visibility out there so we can slow down the traffic and try to avoid these crashes, try to prevent them.
And it's all about safety.
Safety is the big thing.
What are some of the municipalities that we're working on this campaign, do you know?
In this immediate area, we have Moosic, we have Scranton, South Abington Township, Clark Summit, Dixon City, Dunmore, there's some of them, Archibald, there's some of them that's in Lackawanna County.
Okay.
But we have others, Region 4 does encompass 15 counties. We have 31 police departments that are funded within that 15-county region.
Good. And so, Patrolman Reynolds, I know you're out on the front of these type of things, and I'm sure that you see, do you see a lot of crashes that could be prevented were it not for aggressive driving?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of them are stop sign violations, people going through stop signs, hitting somebody, red lights. On the O'Neill Highway, have illegal lane changes, some speeding, that sort of thing.
And all of that falls under aggressive driving, and that's what you guys are out looking for at this point.
It does as well. We are going to be in this wave in the project, and again, it's geared towards safety and gearing towards aggressive driving.
What are some of the, I know this is probably the million-dollar question that everybody has, what are some of the implications, other than getting in a crash, what are some of the other penalties that come along with being an aggressive driver?
Well, of course, when somebody hits somebody, you're always looking for some kind of violation that had occurred. There's some reason for a crash. In this wave, we're talking about aggressive driving. Again, stop signs, running red lights. They all carry penalties in the state. Base fine is usually $25, and then you add the cost and everything, and you could be well up to $150 or more for a citation as well.
Everybody always focuses on that. What's the actual fine? Well, it's $25, and you throw in everything else, and before you know it, you're well over $100.
Exactly.
So how long have you been with the department now?
This year it's going to be 24 years.
Oh, really? Okay. So in 24 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff. In part, I'll ask this personally, because I have 3 children who are now drivers. What message would you give to young drivers who are just starting off, especially, or I guess for all of us, but especially for young drivers, as regards to safety?
As regards for safety, number 1, always wear your seatbelts.
Okay.
Number 2, stay off the cell phones. Cell phones, texting and driving, that sort of thing, seems to be very more occurrence to the younger drivers. That and being distracted.
Okay, good. Really good information. And I think it's important for us to emphasize the fact that this is not about creating revenue for a department. It's not about just going out and giving people tickets for the sake of giving people tickets. This is about safety. It's about my safety, our safety, the safety of my children when they're out there driving. When you're an aggressive driver, you're on the phone, or you're distracted in some way, you're putting your own life at risk, and that's one thing, but you're putting the lives of other people at risk as well. So thank you for what you all do to help promote safety. One last thing, you mentioned before, on August 1st, there's a little bit more targeted, I guess, wave of this. What's taking place on August 1st?
On August 1st, we're going to have a statewide enforcement. We're going to have all of the departments who are funded through aggressive driving, Pennsylvania State Police, and we have a large number of departments who are not being funded but still want to take part in this, so they're going to donate their time and they're going to go out and do enforcement details, speeding details, red light details, traffic enforcement zones, joint details with the departments. So everybody's going to join in on August 1st and try to make that a big safety day for Pennsylvania.
And how long have you been promoting safety with the department, with the state?
I've been working here for 9 years. However, I was a policeman for 30-some years prior to that. So I'm doing it well over 40 years. And
from what I understand now, the safety numbers actually look pretty good as far as the fatalities are down, and we're seeing a lot of improvements in the area. Good. Callie Bartos is our summer intern this year, has been doing a great job helping put together events like this to help promote the safety message across the region. Callie, now you're in college.
Yes.
You're a student where?
I am a student at Keystone College.
How long have you been driving? So when did you get your driver's license?
Well, I got my driver's license when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
So that is probably 3 or 4 years ago.
As a relatively new driver, so you've been driving for 3 or 4 years now, think back to when you first started driving. Mm-hmm. Did you get your license from right over here in Dunmore? Or
yes.
Where did? Okay,
yes,
so
I did.
When you first drove away from Dunmore there, what were the challenges that you remember? What's the difficulty of being a new driver?
Well, the scary part about being a new driver, you feel very intimidated by other drivers, especially people who are very aggressive, who are trying to get to their destination in a hurry. But another thing too, when you're new, you're distracted by a lot of things that are going on around you. You're distracted by the stop signs, the lane changes, the traffic signals as well. So when you're a new driver, it's very scary.
You know, we're in the midst of this aggressive driving campaign right now, and I always think about my kids who are about your age, one a little older and two a little bit younger, but they're all driving, and I often think about the fact that the person who's maybe driving a little bit too slow in that left lane or forgot to put on their signal, they might be a new young driver.
Oh, yeah.
What is the feelings that kind of rise up in you when you're approached by an aggressive driver? Maybe somebody who's on, riding your bumper too close, or what happens in the mind of a young person when you encounter an aggressive driver?
Well, when you're fairly new to driving and you come across an aggressive driver, you feel very intimidated because they're in a rush to get somewhere and you're trying not to upset them, so you're doing everything you can to avoid a issue with that aggressive driver. So in that case, a lot of times you're going to end up making mistakes because you're trying so hard not to anger them.
Now let's review again. I know that you've been doing some study in this. I know Christina talked about it a little bit before, but tell us again, what is an aggressive driver? We keep talking about aggressive drivers, so maybe for someone who's just tuning in right now, what is an aggressive driver?
Well, an aggressive driver is somebody who goes through red stop signs, red traffic lights, changes to different lanes without using their turn signal, tailgating.
And during this campaign, I know you were reading the information before, what are some of the things that the local police are going to be focusing on in the midst of this specific campaign?
Local police are focusing on aggressive drivers who...
Stop sign, I think you said it before, the stop sign, the traffic
going
lights.
Going through traffic lights, not using their turn signal.
Okay, all of those things. So this is one of those issues that is so important for all of us, but I often think about, okay, those of us who have been driving for about as long as you've been alive, we may be able to handle an aggressive driver and get out of the way, but it can be quite intimidating, I think, when somebody comes up and they're aggressive, especially with a new driver. Now, you're up at Keystone. Are you from that area, or is that a new area for you to learn to drive as well?
I'm not from that area. I'm actually an hour away. I live in Madison Township, but I do drive up there here and there, and at first, when I started driving up there, it was definitely intimidating because I wasn't sure where to go, but after I drove there multiple times, it's nothing. Like, it's very easy.
I ask that because I think a lot of times this is the time of year when a lot of college students are going back to class, and it's important for us to remember, especially if you live anywhere near a college, in a college community, you're all of a sudden going to have a whole bunch of new drivers who, one, are young drivers, but are also not familiar with the area. So they may be in a left lane when they're not supposed to be in a left lane, or forget to turn their traffic signal on, or there's all sorts of issues that, because they're new drivers and they're now taken away from home and put into a new community, all of a sudden it's just going to create a situation where the rest of us need to be very, very patient with young drivers. So Mike, speaking of patient, because you work in the office with me, so you obviously have to be very, very patient. Tell us a little bit about, your title is the Safety Press Officer, and what do you do as the Safety Press Officer to help promote safety for PennDOT?
My job is to go out and promote safety to the community. Okay. So we have different programs throughout the year. We're available to go to schools. Another school will be going back in the fall. We'll be able to go to church groups, senior centers. So we promote a variety of different programs. We have senior drivers. We have safety programs for children in car seats. We have buckle up programs. So there's several programs out there for groups to be educated on. And
I mentioned to somebody before, but the traffic numbers, the fatalities, our safety numbers, are actually some of the strongest that we've seen in history, I believe, right?
Right. In 2017, there was a decrease in the fatalities, which is excellent. And our goal is to have 0 fatalities.
That's the ultimate goal. I know that you and Callie do things like this where you help promote various campaigns, the aggressive driving campaigns. What are some of the other safety programs from your office? You mentioned senior driving. Tell us a little bit about the senior, what you can do for seniors, what you can do. I know you can go out and speak to the organizations, but the various car seats and car checks and those type of things that you offer.
Well, they have a program called Car Fit, specifically for seniors. There's a 12 points that we go over to them, make sure they fit in their car, their mirrors are properly, their steering wheel is set, their show them how their seatbelt works, to make sure they're accurate in their car. So that program is available. Sometimes we'll go out to senior centers and do that for them.
And I first met your mom when she came to our office for one of those car fit programs where she comes in, and basically we make sure that our goal is not to take the car keys away from a senior driver. Our goal is to make sure that they can be safe and everybody else can be safe on the roads with them. So what we do with those programs is we make sure that the car is a good fit for the senior and the senior is a good fit for the car. We've talked about this before, but one of the things that we find a lot of with these type of programs is that there's so much new technology with the seniors, and they don't either they don't know about the technology or know how to utilize the technology. Do you find that to be the case?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the newer cars, some of the new features that when we go to these programs, we show the seniors how to use the new features in their car.
And I think that's a great program. I mean, you make sure that the mirror is positioned properly, that the seat itself is positioned properly. So it's how many checked points that you check through?
12 points, and there's also aids available if you're handicapped. If you need assistance to get out of the car, so there are some aids available.
That's a great program, and I think one that's really underutilized as far as some of the programs that we know about. So that's on the one end of the spectrum of life. How about the other end of the spectrum with babies and car seats, not the car fit program?
Okay, we have several certified car seat technicians, and we can go out and do car seat checks. Every Saturday, the state police in Dunmore has a car seat check. And if you want us to come out, you can call and make an appointment. But sometimes we'll do it at car dealerships or at schools. Throughout the Head Start, we do several car seat checks over the year.
And if people do want to get in contact with you on those programs,
well, they
tell
can
them
call
what to do.
Our office in Dunmore. My phone number is 570-963-3502.
An email?
mtoludo@pa.gov.
And social media, they can follow you?
On our Twitter account is 511 PA Northeast.
Okay. We are available, and one of our goals is to not just be the face of PennDOT where we're talking about road construction and bridges and roundabouts and traffic tie-ups. We really are concerned about the safety in the area and the safety for the public. And that's why we're making ourselves available. Contact us. We've gone into church groups, into Boy Scout groups, to various senior fairs and senior citizens' homes. If there is something that we can do from our end to help promote safety for your organization, please reach out to us. My phone number is 570-963-4044. That's 570-963-4044. My email is jamay@pa.gov. And anything that we can do from our office to help promote safety in northeastern Pennsylvania, we would love to do. So until next time, be safe out there.